Hey party people, how you guys doing out there? It's your girl, Madam X, coming to you on Frequency Real Radio, and let's go ahead and talk about this Rob Kardashian Blac Chyna thing. And we're talking about it because it's a popular topic and it's a hot issue, but even more so importantly, what we're talking about it to focus on is examples of the zodiac signs and all the things that we talk about in the tarot cards, and when we talk about the readings month to month, when we do the signs, all of these things play into people's personality, their characteristics. When I talk about the signs and how people are, and when you have something going on in the public light, or you can use your celebrity something to as an example for what you mean when we talk about the zodiac signs, the energy and everything like that. It's such a good example. So we don't just talk about this because it's pop culture or we're being gossipy. I don't run a gossip blog about current events. Everything I talk about, I tie it back into an astrological point of view, because every time you guys get your cards read, every time you're looking at tarot cards, all of those cards carry the energy of either water, fire, air, or earth. All of those energies break down into individual zodiac signs that fall under each one of those elemental earth, and we all carry those signs in our personality to some degree or the other based on which elements are more prominent in our birth charts, and based on which elements are transiting the earth and the aspects that the planets are making right now. So if your sun falls into a sign that's known as your sun sign. So today we're going to talk about Rob Kardashian, the Pisces, and Blac Chyna. Blac Chyna is either the Taurus or the Scorpio. I believe she is the Taurus. So actually, let me double check, because I thought she was I thought she was a Scorpio at first. But then after hearing about it again, I always keep a nose to the ground. I'm a Cancer, so we know a lot, say not a lot. So I thought she was a Scorpio. You know, I keep my ear to the ground on everything. I like to know something about every subject, from politics to what's going on out here, to the hot gossip, to gossip that's not so hot, things that nobody would care about, classical topics, classical music, all kind of things. So I thought she was a Scorpio at first. She had so much Scorpio energy, but come to find out, she's a Taurus. But if you guys know anything about astrology, that still makes a lot of sense, because Scorpio is Taurus's opposite sign. And as I always tell people, I have a friend who I talk to about astrology on like a daily basis, and we just spend a lot of times giving examples, real life examples of zodiac personalities, and just talking about the zodiac signs and the planets and the energies. And that friend is a Scorpio. So a lot of times, and that friend didn't know a lot about like their opposite signs and really how that opposite sign plays into the personality. Me as a Cancer, I'm a feeler. I don't always do the best at explaining things, but there is an inherent knowing, there's an inherent feeling, because most Cancers, and I'm a double Cancer and a Pisces moon, so Cancer on the rising, Cancer on the sun, Pisces moon. There is just a feeling and an intuition that a lot of water signs have, period, but especially not especially a Cancer, but a Cancer sign has it too, but sometimes it may be harder to express. Pisces may put their expressions into words, but a Scorpio may as well. I can't really say. I just know for me as a Cancer, and I don't know, maybe if that double Cancer trips it up, it's hard to express sometimes, but there is an inner knowing, an inner feeling. There's just an inner knowing without even having to explain. So if there's an intricate tie between yourself and your opposite sign. And automatically when you think of the opposite sign, you think, okay, this sign is nothing like me. There's nothing compatible. There's nothing identical that I would see in myself in this opposite sign, but it's quite the opposite. Get it? The opposite. It's quite the opposite. Your opposite sign is not only traits that are different from you. Your opposite sign can also be like I guess the best way I can liken it to is looking in a dirty mirror, or looking in a mirror that is not clean. It is the shadow aspect of you. So the parts of yourself that you may not admit to, maybe some of the energies that you may not accept or you may not be aware of, and even the energies you try to hide. So that opposite, or the energies that come out when you are expressing through your sign, sometimes like in a negative way. So for example, with the Taurus and the Scorpio, like we're talking about, Blac Chyna is a Scorpio, but I'm just trying to make a point to you guys that I mean, she's a Taurus, but I'm trying to make a point to you guys that I thought she was a Scorpio. And it makes sense with that. Even though she is not a sun Scorpio, she has Scorpio is her sun sign's opposite planet. As you guys hear all the time, opposites attract. You don't just attract your opposite because it's something totally different from you. There's also something there that's the same. So the negative side of the Taurus, the shadow side of the Taurus, is the Scorpio, and vice versa. So I had to just laugh to myself when I found out she was a Taurus after thinking, she was a Scorpio. So just like my opposite sign, I'm a Cancer, my opposite sign is Capricorn. There are a lot of things in the Capricorn that are different from me, very different from me. They can be a little more offstandish, not open to new people, a little bit more I won't say aloof. Cancer's pretty aloof, but just in their bag. You know what I mean? A Capricorn can be kind of cold if they don't know you, not really trying to get to know you. And I'm a more friendlier person and things like that. But in my shadow side, in certain times, and in my negativity, I see the Capricorn traits come out in me. And another thing I also say about opposite signs is a lot of times you either get along with your opposite sign really good, or when you get into it, it's really bad. So I notice a lot of opposite signs do make good friendships, or they just can't stand each other. And they will be drawn to each other in partnerships. And if something goes bad, then it's just bad. And just to run through the opposite signs really quick before we get heavily into because you're watching this for the astrology too, guys. It's not a gossip blog. So it's not all about, this is what happened play by play with Rob and China. But I'm going to get into it. But just to give you the astrology behind it. And if you listen to it, just to tell you a little something about your sign. Because you may not be the Scorpio and the Pisces. And you may want to go look up and understand how your opposite sign affects you, and how you mirror those energies, or how you relate to the energies of your opposite sign, and what that attraction and what that repulsion is. It's a little bit of both. A magnet attracts and it repels. So Aries, your opposite sign is Libra. My dad was an Aries, my mom was a Libra. When it was good, it was good, and when it was bad, it was bad. Taurus and Scorpio. Gemini and Sagittarius. I know quite a few Geminis that and Sagittarius that are always attracted to each other, if not just in relationships and friendships. Cancer and Capricorn. Leo and Aquarius, same thing with that. I've known a lot of Leos who have dated Aquariuses. Who you got after that? We talked of Virgo and Pisces. Then we talked about so I think we did the 6: Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Virgo, and Libra and Aries. So we just about covered all of them. I mean, if you guys want me to go through Virgo and Pisces, I already said them, but I'm going to say them again as I go through all 12. Virgo and Pisces, Libra and Aries like we discussed, Scorpio and Taurus like we discussed, Sagittarius and Gemini like we discussed, and that brings us back around to Capricorn and Cancer. I just say it like that because usually I start my zodiac at Aries and you end with Pisces, but we only really needed to hit 6. So on to Rob and Blac Chyna. So first things first, and I'm going to tell you that I can really, really, really understand the personality of Blac Chyna for 2 reasons. Number one, I see so much of that Scorpio energy in her, and I should have looked up her chart because I'm willing to bet she probably has some planets, if not more than one in Scorpio, because that revenge aspect, and this is what I mean when I say the negative traits of your opposite sign can come out in you. Taurus, to the naked eye, isn't necessarily a vengeful person. They aren't all about getting revenge, but they are undercover. And I realized that through knowing Taurus for a long time. And that's what I was going to say. I understand it because of the Scorpio, being a fellow water energy and Scorpio. I've had Scorpio friends. I've seen the revengefulness, how they can be very vengeful at the slightest hurt. It might even be a hurt that you really didn't deem offensive to the Scorpio. But if the Scorpio found it offensive, or the Scorpio, because a lot of times they may be thinking negatively and people are out to hurt them. They rule life, and they rule that whole rebirth, that life and death, that kind of transformation energy. So they are very connected to the dark, very connected to the negative in life. So it's almost like they're already expecting it in a lot of situations. So I saw a lot of that Scorpio energy in her, but I relate to the Taurus very well. I've had several friends that had been Tauruses in my life for a long, long time. So when I talk about Taurus, trust me, know Taurus very, 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 very intimately well. So and I'll tell you what about her and put you on guard with some of your Tauruses, and your Tauruses can say, comment below on if it's true or not. So the Taurus and the Pisces. Well, I wouldn't say, now, I don't always go by sun sign compatibility. I think sun sign compatibility is a lot of bullshit. It tells you a lot who you may mesh with, who you may get along with, but relationships and things great are brought on by not necessarily having somebody that's like you, that all identifies you. Sometimes an opposite energy, or energy that's different from your own, even though it can be difficult, it can push you to bigger and better and greater sort of relationships and relationship dynamics. So I agree with sun sign compatibility on some level, but there's a lot of other aspects I would look at in the chart to determine compatibility, because on some level, just going by sun sign compatibility is bullshit. But on the surface, Taurus and Pisces, it is not a bad pairing. They can have a lot in common. Kind of, Pisces is probably more outgoing than the Cancer, probably involved in more outside the home, but Pisces is very a sort of in their realm sort of person. They do go in the home because that is like their Neptune world when they want to go into their dreams. Pisces may sleep a lot, and of course Tauruses, they have the same level sort of a sociability to me. Like Taurus likes to socialize, but they also like to be at home. They like their home environment too. So I could see a Taurus and a Pisces relating on a certain level. But speaking in the specific case of Rob and Blac Chyna, so here's where the differences come in. Rob being a Pisces is going to automatically carry a certain emotional level, and a certain rose-colored glasses being ruled by that Neptune. Being ruled by that Neptune, and I believe Pisces' traditional ruler is Jupiter, but modern day ruler is Neptune. Being ruled by the Neptune, always in this haze, always in this dream world, and Pisces being the last and the wisest sign, it is not that when you look at this situation, a lot of people are saying, oh, Rob is stupid, Rob is dumb, he knew Blac Chyna was this type of person. Yeah, he knew. It has nothing to do with him being stupid. A Pisces is going to want what they're going to want, and they have an idealistic view that they put on people, and I don't just know that from experience. Again, I have a Pisces moon. I know all the fucking about idealizing people, and it just doesn't turn out to be true. But I mean, I've heard that from very intelligent Pisces mind, Pisces mouth them their own selves. This is why we like who we like, because once we have this idyllic picture of you, this is how we see you forever until you just break it, and then we just never see you that way again. It's like once something shatters, once those rose-colored glasses break for a Pisces, they never quite see you the same way again, and they're off it. But he knew exactly what he was getting, like a lot of people say. And it's not because he didn't know who Blac Chyna was. It's because he was in a place where he does not feel emotionally good about himself, gaining the weight, not feeling comfortable, coming from a slimmer, attractive guy. I mean, Rob Kardashian was really never my type. Pisces, and this is just, I'm just saying in general, Pisces men, I think the Pisces women are very good lookers. I mean, Erykah Badu, Rihanna, and I could think, I know of several. I can't think of anybody else off the top of my head. Those are two that really stick out for me when I talk about Pisces women. But Pisces men, it's not that they are always physically attractive to me, whether it's body, height, just straight looking at them, but there's always something attractive about the men to me. And it's deeper than the physical. Pisces in general have very, very good style to me. They can put on 20 different colors and match the shit up, and it looks fly as hell. And that's the men and the women. They're the oldest sign in the zodiac. So when you talk about the oldest, you talk about the wisest, you talk about the sign that encompasses every other sign in the zodiac, and they represent the feet. So the Pisces, they definitely have a connection to the feet, and the feet move the whole vehicle. So even though Pisces, that's what I was saying, like Pisces is social to a degree because they're always moving, they're always swimming, albeit into maybe even 3 or 4 different directions. But Pisces is always, even if they're moving through their own dream world. So she took advantage of him when he was in a state of being depressed, being down, not feeling confident about himself, coming from a young, quote unquote, more attractive Rob, and then probably growing up with all of those females, losing his father, just in his whole family dynamics. I'm sure we can go. It always seems like Pisces men have mother issues to me. It is not exclusive to just their signs. A lot of signs have a lot of shit in common, but right now we're talking about Pisces and Taurus. So Pisces men a lot of times seem to have some kind of connection issues with their father. It may be true for the women too, but just talking about different Pisces men I know and have known. So she caught him at a perfect time. And Tauruses are the type. So it's not that Rob didn't know. He just put on blinders not to know. He is wise enough to know that after the situation, if you don't know, Blac Chyna was with Tyga. Blac Chyna was friends with Kim and the sisters. Somehow Kylie and Tyga hooked up, and it sort of ruined that whole Blac Chyna and the Kardashian relationship because of that. So the minute, like I said, I don't deeply pay attention to this shit until something pops off, and I want to talk about it from an astrological point of view, but I keep my ear to the ground on everything. The minute I caught wind or even got a sniff or earful of the fact that Blac Chyna messed with Rob Kardashian, I knew beyond a shadow of a doubt she was plotting her revenge. And this is the whole time the Scorpio. I was feeling that Scorpio energy so strong. That is why it's so crazy to me she turned out to be a Taurus. I knew as soon as I heard it, without looking into any signs or any zodiacs or any this, that, or the other, I knew that was all about revenge. It was all about the Kardashians had money. This little sister wants to sleep with my man. Okay, I'm going to show you. I'm going to get your brother. And he was the perfect simp. He was the perfect simp for her game plan. And let me tell you what I mean by simp. I'm not trying to downgrade him. I'm not trying to degrade him, because I don't find any joy, or I don't find any. It's like I'm 50-50 on both sides. I'm 50-50 feel for Rob, and I 50-50 feel for Blac Chyna, because on Rob's end, it's like only what you can let happen to you, only what you let happen to you happens to you. But on the same token, it's like, okay, Blac Chyna, do we really want to glorify a woman? On top of that, a black woman kind of playing them and being this image, just over sexualizing it. He putting out there she's a hoe, exposing her body parts. It just plays into the stereotypes that are really realities about a lot of women in general. It's not black women, but I'm a black woman, so any other race listening, I'd have a deeper love for everybody. But of course, like any race should, you definitely should focus on, hold your people, and especially high regard, because that is your culture. I am equal opportunity. I have love for all people, but I am a black woman, so I'm going to speak from a black woman's perspective. So it perpetuates negative stereotypes. But Blac Chyna didn't do anything that the Kardashians haven't been doing. But of course, when it gets put out there about her, I mean, hey, Kim got exposed on tape. I don't know if she was showing, well, hey, having sex on tape is bad enough. So it's not exclusively a black woman thing. So it's kind of like it's 50-50. Both of them are just make 100% asshole situation. So anyway, as soon as I caught whiff of that, I knew she was using Rob to get back at Tiger. And it was really, and more so, probably Tiger and Kylie. Like, that was her whole game plan. That's what it was. And if you didn't know that just from hearing it, if that had been anybody, it should have been the first thought of your mind. But what should solidify that with you, with Blac Chyna, is the fact that she's from the streets. She is from the DC, Maryland, Virginia area. I believe she's more so from the DC area. I'm Baltimore. Baltimore. We don't worry too much about outside of them Baltimore parts. We think everybody else is country, and Baltimore is just where it's at. Not even getting out our little cubby holder. No, Maryland is a much bigger place. But anyway, she's from that area, and she's a stripper, and she's about the street life. So if you didn't know it before, you can tell Blac Chyna just by her appearance, just about things you've heard about her in the past. She's about hustling. She's about a come up. Rob was an easy come up, and to fuel the flames, the fact that Tiger and Kylie did that, she said, okay, I'm going to get your brother and I'm going to get hooked into this Kardashian money for life. So not only was it about the get back, she also saw a way to keep her future set in stone, because the Kardashians are millionaires. All of those girls are making money. The mom is making money. I don't see them going broke anytime soon. So gaming Rob, not only was it payback, it was almost like the best for a hustler. That was like the best come up you could run into. That's the best lick you could hit, because I mean, you're talking big time money when she don't never have to work again. Whether she's a hustler. She have her own, I believe, like eyelash line. She might have her own makeup line. I think she got a nail salon. Just random things I've heard over the years. But if she never wanted to do any of that stuff again, she wouldn't have to, because she ran into Rob. So if you don't know about Pisces, this is how a lot of Pisces men operate from what I see. Now, when Pisces like you and they have this idealistic view of you, they like you, and they have a real idealistic view of you. If they love you and they want to be with you, they love you and want to be with you. Now, that doesn't mean that Pisces man might not go out and cheat. A Pisces is a type that may go cheat and not even freaking consider it cheating. Like, he is a Pisces man, has some simp in him somewhere, anywhere, and I don't care who the Pisces man is. And I don't know if it's because it's the water. I don't know if it's because it is their oldest, wisest sign. And I don't know if it's just because those rose-colored glasses that Pisces tend to wear. But Pisces men always have a sucker, and I mean sucker in a kind of a good way. I don't mean it necessarily in a negative, derogatory term. So maybe I should call it a soft spot. Pisces men always have some sort of soft spot in them. Now, I'm not saying Pisces can't be a player. They can't boss up on people, because they have that too. And that's why that's why I bring up the fact that they are the oldest and the wisest of the signs, because they can kind of manipulate both realms. They can be like, have this whole player thing to them, but at the same time be some of the softest hearted men in the zodiac, from what I've seen and from what I've experienced. I've seen with Pisces men, a lot of times when they get with other signs, and if it's a woman they really care about, they can call you and complain and complain and complain about this woman, but they will let the woman kind of run them. They will let the woman kind of boss them, and they will do for the woman. They will take her here, they will take her there, they will buy her this, they will buy her that. If it's in their means to do it, the Pisces man will do it, even when it seems like that woman may be taking advantage of the Pisces man. So to see that in Rob is not, I mean, with him, because of the self-esteem issues, she really came up on a lick. You know what I mean? But that's already in a lot of Pisces men character that I see to be a little bit more of the nature where the woman, I don't want to say can walk over top of them, but the woman can get away with a few things. Like, it's not like an Aries who wants to boss up on a relationship and kind of be the boss of the relationship, maybe control the money, the finances, and do what he wants and spend it however he wants and make y'all go broke. It's not like the Leo who has to be the man of the relationship and take care of everything so he could be that lion, so he could be that king. His woman better not ever embarrass him. Like, it's not quite like the Leo. It's not quite like that. And it's not like the Sagittarius where it's like, oh, I'm gonna do whatever I want to do. You can't tell me nothing. You got to accept the relationship on these terms because this is what it is. Pisces men have that soft nature in them. Even though they let that woman get over on them, if they have enough self-esteem, you better believe. Let me just give a hint to anybody listening, think they're going to get them a Pisces man and walk over. That dude, if he meets somebody, he could just have a free-flowing sexual experience, because Pisces, and this is not to say, oh, you getting on his nerve, he's going to go cheat on you. It's not necessarily because of that. It is because Pisces saw somebody else they were attracted to, and they was feeling that vibe, and a Pisces might do that and act like it never happened and nothing wrong ever went on and love his girl like that shit never happened. That's the scary part about Pisces. So I'm just saying that to say, don't think they're total simps, because if, like with Rob, if another woman had came on him to him like that, he had the opportunity, he just might have cheated. He was putting out some tweets and some posts saying he didn't cheat. That's because probably wasn't nobody trying to give him none. But if people were coming on strong, if he was still that slim, attractive Rob, oh, he would have cheated on Blac Chyna. Please believe it. So anyway, with the Taurus, so let's talk. That's a little bit about the Pisces and why he was open for the taking. Let's talk about the Taurus. So guys, Tauruses are dedicated. When they get in a relationship with somebody they are in that relationship. A Taurus will stay in a bad relationship for a long time. So yes, Chyna was game and Rob, but there may have been some part of Chyna that liked Rob, but whether she deeply loved him or she loved him at all is another question. Number one, Tauruses want you to have something going on. So you either got to have some type of money, some type of ambition, things like that, or they definitely want you to take care of yourself in the way you look. So when she would say she likes him like he is and everything like that, no, you really feeling like almost sorry for him in a way, like staying out of a person for feeling sorry for them. But a Taurus can be very supportive to those emotional issues that Rob had. But at a certain point, it's going to weigh that earth sign down. Our earth sign is very practical. They can understand things in a logical realm and they can understand things in the emotional realm. And they will try with you until you can get it right. But it's eventually a point where if they had ulterior plans, because also remember, Tauruses, they're hard workers. All earth signs are very hard workers. So the Virgo, the Capricorn, and the Taurus, especially the Taurus and the Cap. Well, I'll say the Virgo too. They're all very, very hard workers, especially the Taurus. I mean, they are going to work hard, and the Capricorn is going to work hard too. But one difference between like a Taurus work hard and a Capricorn work hard, a Taurus work hard is like blue collar, hard labor, fingers in the dirt kind of work. Capricorn will kind of climb that corporate ladder. Virgo a little of both. Virgo sort of the corporate ladder too. But Taurus, they start like from the nitty gritty blue collar bottom and climb it that way. So that's why I say you look at the different things she had going on. She started from the nitty gritty bottom. a stripper, and she had the lash line, she had some things going for her. So a Taurus does look at ways to make them successful and people who can help them get there. So if they don't have a car and you got a car, let's get in this relationship because I need somebody with a car. Or I don't have all this money, but you got comforts and you got luxuries, because the Taurus is ruled by Venus. So they want to be in the presence of the people with the comfort and the luxuries and the nice items, even if they didn't necessarily earn them themselves. Because, a lot of times those earth signs, they may have high wants, high needs, and high desires, but a lot of times they may really internally on the inside be sort of low budget. I don't want to call them low class, but just kind of low budget people that still take that grounded kind of ratchetness with them. Even like there's always that hidden side of Taurus. On the outside, it's like it's this high class champagne drinking person, but on the inside, you really a beer guzzler who drinks kegs with a beer belly. You know what I'm saying? And I don't mean that always in a literal sense. I'm saying that is the demeanor to a Taurus. On the outside, it looks all rich, ritzy and ditzy and Versace and, Louis Vuitton. But on the inside, you're really just really down to earth, blue collar type people. So Chyna, regardless of the situation with Kylie, she saw a come up. The Taurus is ruled by Venus. They are about luxury items. They're about nice things. They like that sort of attention, and they like beauty, staying beautiful, taking care of themselves, looking good, and they like people who can provide those comforts to them. So they may be with partners that are more shabby or that are more on the emotional side of things, or maybe partners who are more into them, so that Taurus can be always the one shining on this high plateau. You know what I'm saying? So Chyna saw that opportunity, and she saw that money. She saw all of that in Rob, and that's what allowed this situation to take place. Rob was captivated with her beauty, which is how it usually goes, and Chyna was captivated with Rob's money, but she saw that she can take advantage of that emotional Pisces. But that emotion was too much, really, on a basic level for Chyna to deal with. The Taurus has emotion deep inside, but they hardly ever express it. So if you catch them crying, or you catch them really getting emotional with you, they are at a really low point, because the Taurus hides their emotion deep inside, because they always put on this strong exterior, this strong logical front, because they are a rock, they are a brick. You can depend on them. So that emotional behavior that would come from Rob all the time, it was definitely too much for Chyna to handle. So when Chyna checked out, when her mind was gone, whether her hustle was completed, she got what she wanted. And if you ask me, she really didn't hustle that well, because if she was a true hustler, she would have kept her dirt way more on the low, and of course take into consideration publicity stunts, what they're doing for the camera, what's real and not real. But if she was a true hustler, she would have kept her affairs and her business way on the low and stayed in that relationship with Rob, and really played him like a fiddle for a much longer time, because she really could have been taken care of for life. She could have had more children. I mean, not that, who knows if Rob got a whole bunch going on. I mean, but that Kardashian money, they got money in the family. So she really could have kept Rob as like her husband, as her main dude, instead of blowing the spot up so prematurely in that relationship. I mean, her baby isn't even 6 months old. So when Taurus checks out, that's one thing about that Taurus. Now Pisces has on those rose colored glasses. He has this ideal of Chyna. He knows Chyna doesn't really love him. He knows Chyna is not into him, but he feels like that about her. So he's going to put the blinders on. Chyna, when she wasn't all the way there in the first place. So what a Taurus will do is, and this is the shadow Scorpio side, a Taurus will have these sneaky ways and this thing that when they check out, they will do their dirt. They will do their grime. Taurus always has to have someone supporting them. So if it's a male, they always have to have another woman that is going to be there to covet and praise the Taurus. And if it's a woman, she always has to have another man there to covet and praise her. And Taurus is very much about sensuality and sex. Do not let that leave your frame of mind for 1 minute. Taurus always has to have somebody to be screwing. It is all about sex. If nobody has told you that about the Taurus sign, they don't fucking know Taurus. Okay? Taurus is all about that sex. They've got to have somebody there to provide the sex and the support. Because like I stated, on the inside, Tauruses can be very emotionally weak and insecure. And they can hide certain habits, traits, and demons that you do not see on the outside. They are dressed to a T. The package looks good, but the slip is showing. And that's what me and my astrology friends say a lot. Come in dressed to the nines, looking good, but your slip is showing. And you don't even know it. Meaning, the outside is all wrapped in this pretty package, but sometimes the inside can be pretty empty, or the shit in the box is all broken up. You got your ship. They shipped your shit to you and it's nice. You order something all fancy and good. You think you're going to pull it out the box and it's beautiful. They done package. You asked for it to be gift wrapped. It comes in this beautiful gift wrap package, but the shit is really broken inside. And it ain't no way to put it back together again. And even if you put it back together again, it's going to take a lot of work. A lot of work. So sometimes you rather just fucking return it. But that's another topic and another day. So she couldn't handle those emotional issues. So when she checked out, or maybe she was never there, she was going to do her dirt behind his back. She has that shadow Scorpio side. She's going to get that revenge that she had in her. That hustling and that game plan is that Taurus with that Scorpio opposition Saturn all freaking day. Because Taurus can go really low and really quiet, and you'll have no idea, or you won't be none the wiser. And if you are the wiser, you'll ignore it that they checked out, because they are very good at still being that rock, still being stable. She might have liked Rob as a friend at some point and just took it too far, but really she wasn't there in her heart. So she was going to do what she was going to do on the side, and also try to pacify him so that he had no idea of what she was doing, or she pacified him enough to keep him in a relationship and to keep him just where she wanted him. And Rob, being the Pisces that he is, Pisces men can be walked over sometimes. Pisces men can be used for their money. They can be used as tricks and simps sometimes. Not because the Pisces does not know better. Not because the Pisces is necessarily a trick or a simp or something like that at heart. But because those emotions and where a Pisces is, how they feel about their looks, their emotional barometer, their emotional insecurities, their emotionalism allows them, and those rose-colored glasses from that planet Neptune being a planet of haze and fog and lies and deception. And that's why if you look in your charts, you really want to check out the aspects that Neptune makes in relation to your love and relationship planets like Venus and Jupiter. You want to end the moon, and you want to pay attention to the aspects it makes to your love and relationship houses, like your 7th house, your 5th house, your 1st house. So you really want to pick the 11th house of friendships, because it really can lead you, and even the 12th house of hidden secrets and hidden enemies, because it really can lead you to be aloof and to lead yourself into dangerous situations with dangerous people, because you just don't want to admit the truth and you go along with situations anyway. Some Pisces are really wise. They know these things about themselves. They know to trust their instincts and their guts. But some get taken by this whole Neptune illusion that's out there, especially if they're in a bad emotional place when it comes to the relationships. So guys, I have talked my neck off about Chyna, the Taurus, and Rob, the Pisces. This does not have to be a bad combination. It does not have to make a bad relationship, but you have to have an emotionally stable Pisces, and you have to have a Taurus vibrating from a high frequency that is going to support and understand that Pisces, not use and abuse the Pisces. And a Pisces who is operating from a high functioning level that is not a high chakra, that is not going to allow themselves to be used and abused. Guys, Guys, leave your comments below. I'm really interested to hear from Tauruses and Pisces, and anybody that's been in a Taurus and Pisces relationship, whether it was the woman of Taurus, the man of Pisces, or the woman of Pisces and the man of Taurus. Guys, love you. Thanks for checking this out. And I just find it so interesting when you tie all this shit that goes on back into an astrological point of view. And another thing I want to point out about the Taurus, if anybody knows Taurus, they're very into their look. So it's really funny how a lot of what Chyna got from Rob and a lot of what she was concerned about. I already talked about looks and money and all of that, but a lot of that stuff went into her body. It went into surgeries. They are very conscious and very into their looks. You know, I know a Taurus guy who would stay in the mirror longer than I would, you know. So, you know, and I like to stay in the mirror. I like to keep myself up for the most part. And I like to have bummy days for the most part because I like balance in everything I do. Nobody's perfect. And I like to let my imperfections show sometimes because you have to be comfortable with those things. But, you know, all of that is so interesting when you look at what's going on with popular people and you tie it into the zodiac signs. Guys, drop your comments below. Love you. Madam X, Frequency Real Radio. And I'm out.